continuing in the New Testament Greek class, and I just want to make mention that we're going to be getting into some complicated things. If you catch on, you catch on. If you don't catch on, that's okay. What I want you to realize is just how much is in the Greek language. Just in a matter of a word, how much is packed into, today it's going to be verbs. How much is packed into a verb? Last week we did verbs, but that was only in the present nominative case. With present as in, that's the tense, and nominative, that's the simplest form it could possibly be. But today, it's going to look very, very complicated, and it does get complicated. And there comes points where there is no English equivalent at all, where the translators have done their best to convey what is being said. Now, quite often, the Greek can have in one word what it would take us 2 or more words to say. And that because it is in the Koine Greek. It's as powerful as it. That's very powerful. Now we're going to start here, just talking about nominative, definite articles. We talked about the singular last week, and the fact that a definite article for us is the. All right, that is a definite article. As we said, I think last week, the cat or a cat. All right, a is an indefinite article. The means I'm talking about a specific cat. A cat means I could be talking about any and all, but there's no indefinite article in Greek. And I also want to make mention of this, that if you go researching online concerning New Testament Greek, make sure you've got the right thing. Make sure that it is New Testament Greek, because quite often a search engine or whatever won't know what you're talking about and will take you right into modern Greek, which is very, very different. And it's going to give you some things that, that's not the same language. It looks the same, just like to someone who, to like the Chinese, a book in Spanish and a book in English look the same. But they're not the same. They look it, same alphabet, it looks like it, but they're not the same. Okay, so here's our singular, nominative, definite articles, and we talked about this maybe it was a couple of weeks ago. But we have ha, that's the omicron with the breath mark over it, the hard breath mark over it. That's ha. That is masculine. Ha Christos literally means the Christ. Hey, that also has the breath mark, hard breath mark on it. Hey is feminine. Hey gune is literally the woman. And ta is neuter, and that's ta ploion, the ship. All right, that's neuter. Now let's go to plural. I'm sorry, that was all singular. Let's go to plural nominative definite articles. And hoi, hi, ta. They do change. Now we don't. I could say the cat or the cats. The definite article didn't change at all. The ocean or the many oceans. Yeah, it doesn't matter. But in Greek, it does. Now we have hoi prophetai. Prophetai, you probably can hear the word in there, prophets. And that is the plural form of it. And of course, that's masculine. Now, hi graphai is the writings. And then we go to ta ploia, ta ploia, that's the ships. And I'm putting this in because of what's going to come down in just a bit. Okay, now let's go over our vocabulary for today. Can we make this word out? We have Alpha, Nu, Theta, Rho, Omega, Pi, Omicron, Sigma. Can we make that word out? We do use this word as a base for things in our own language. Anybody have a guess? Yes. Who said that? Yes, that is anthropos, where we get anthropology, anthropomorphic. There's all anthropoid. There's all kinds of English words that we have. This is anthropos, and it means man, but it means man in the general sense of like all of mankind. God made anthropos, and that is all of mankind. And huios to anthropou is the son of man. All right, that is that is what Christ calls himself, as does other Scripture. Now, this is a distinction. Can we figure out what this one is? Alpha, Nu, Eta, Rho. All right, this is aner. Aner means man specifically. That is a male human being, as opposed to anthropos, which is everybody, mankind. Aner means a man specific. So this word is very similar. It's just just anglicizing this word. You can call it transliterating, but we've anglicized that word. Can you guess what that word is? It is apostolos. Now, we say apostle, we don't pronounce the T. I guess some might. We don't pronounce the T, but they would pronounce the tau. They're apostolos, which means apostle. This is thanatos. Theta, alpha, nu, alpha, tau, omicron, sigma. Thanatos, that is death. Ha, thanatos means the death. Now, you'll notice our up in the top, our article has changed to neuter. This is ta hieron, or hieron, hieron. And that means that is temple. But that is not masculine or feminine, that is neuter. Now we come to this, and this is why I wanted to discuss those articles to begin with. All right, who can tell me what that word is? That is Petra. That's Petra. And it does mean rock. You can translate that way. The idea, though, is a monstrous rock. It is a cliff. All right, it's a place that is rather large, and it is a large rock. It is a land feature. A small stone on the ground is not a land feature. That's just an object that's on the ground. This is the Petra is feminine. Hey Petra. All right, that's feminine. It also means like a stone ledge. It is a large object. It is a large mountainous thing, and as opposed to the next. Now understand, this is feminine. The next one is masculine. Ha Petros. All right, notice we have a difference in the ending, and this is capitalized as a kind of a key right there, a clue, that this is Peter's name in Greek. It does mean a small stone. A Petros, ha Petros, is a small stone. Going back to this, hey Petra is an enormous rock. There is a difference in the meaning. So it does take us to Matthew chapter 16, verse 18. And that is, I say to you that you are Peter, and upon this rock I shall build my church, and the gates of Hadu, or Hades, shall not prevail against it. Okay, now we have his name, Patros, here. All right, and Te Petra, here, and this is the neuter article, but it is the dative case, meaning of place, and of a place on this rock. It's not on this man right here. It is because he's not in the dative case. This is the dative case, which shows of a location. Now we come to Namas, which is law. Ha-namas means the law. We have aklos, which is multitude or crowd. Ha-aklos. We have huios, and that does have the hard breath mark, so it is huios, of son. Ha-huios. And now we come to this, of looking at what is packed inside a verb. Now, things are going to get technical and get complicated, but I want you to stay with me through this, because not everything we do is going to be like this. But I want you to at least see the sophistication that is in this language. And God chose this language, I think, because of this sophistication. But I will also add that providentially, He helped bring this language about. Where did all languages come from anyway? Well, Babel. All right, where did the people of Babel get their various languages? Well, it came from God. But now, what's packed in a verb? Now, in English verbs, and I'm using just the verb loose, because we're going to get to luo in just a second. In English verbs, this is all we have. And I'm talking about just one word that is the verb. One word. All right, we have person, that's in it, number, that's in it, and tense, that's in it. Person, is it first person, second person, third person? Is it singular or plural? Is it past, present, or future tense? That is in our verbs. Those are in our verbs. But there's more in a Greek verb. They too have person, number, tense, but in Koine Greek it also has voice and it has mood. And these two change things. You're adding a lot of information inside a verb. Now, last week we talked about, because we were dealing with nominative and singular and plural of verbs, that we didn't deal with tense last week. We didn't deal with voice or mood last week. And we said that everything was packed in to the last letter. That the last letter denoted what you had, whether it was first person, second person, third person, or if it was singular or plural. O, ace, a, amen, edi, usi. Those are added instead of just the omega at the end. These others would replace it as needed. Now, when we're talking about going into tense and voice and mood, there are more things that can change when we're dealing with verbs. More things can be added to the end, and things can be added to the beginning, and things can be added in the middle or changed in the middle. Or that makes it kind of complicated. But we're just discussing it. We're not actually going into all that. But so person, such as first person, number, such as singular, tense, such as present tense, voice, such as active voice, mood, such as indicative. Now, just in looking at this, tense, mood, and voice, tense, we usually think of past, present, future. Or they do too. In Greek, it is there as well. But there's more to this. Not only is it the time that the action occurred, but what type of action. There can be continuous action that is being expressed, or there can be what's known as punctiliar action. Punctiliar action means that it occurred and it stopped. It's completed. It's done. Our continuous action means that it was over a long period of time, or at least a period of time anyway. But this punctiliar action is just, it happened and now it's been completed. Now in mood, well, this is going to speak of action and reality. We'll get to that in a second. That sounds more theoretical or more weird than it actually is. All right, action and reality. It sounds philosophical, but really it's not. All right, in the voice, it's action as it relates to the subject. All right, active, passive, middle. And I didn't do this. In the mood, it's real action, possible action, or desired action. Yeah, that shows you that possible action is not real. It's just what is possible. It didn't happen yet, hasn't happened yet, but it could. Desired action is, oh, that I wish that, and it's an action that I'm talking about, but it hasn't happened. I just desire it. All right, but we have with the voice, active voice, passive voice, and the middle voice. And the middle voice we don't have in English. And when we're talking about the passive voice, we usually have to have some additional words for us in English to make something a passive voice. But we're going to start with mood now. All right, so we're in the indicative mood. That is all part of what a Greek verb might be, and that the action is a fact. This did happen. The action is real. It has happened, or is happening, or it will happen. That is a fact. The boy ran, or the boy is running. All right? And it's just from the speaker's point of view, we have to add that from the speaker's point of view, it would be a matter of fact. Now, someone, I'm not talking about the necessarily any kind of scripture at the moment, but I could probably find one of where an indicative verb is used by someone who's lying. And someone saying something that simply isn't true, or they're saying something they think has happened, but it hasn't happened. But they would give it in the indicative mood because they believe it has happened. All right, I don't have a verse for that at the moment, but I just want to give that as an idea as to what the indicative mood happens to be. It is from the teller's point of view, or the person giving the event or telling the sentence. It's their point of view. Now, here's indicative verbs. And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld His glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. This is real actions that happened in the past. John is writing these down. They've already occurred. He's writing this after Christ ascended into heaven. How many years after that? I can't tell you. I don't know. I don't know when John wrote his book. He might have started pretty quick for all I know. I don't know. But it's all in the past. And this is all in the indicative mood of this is real. These things did happen. Now, we also have under this imperative, we have the imperative mood as opposed to the indicative mood. We have the imperative mood. The imperative is a command, an entreaty, a call to action. And now, with this, the imperative mood, it's never in the first person, in case you want to know. because the imperative mood is giving a command. Or usually you don't give a command in the first person. That would be giving yourself a command. You could, but you'd be treating yourself in the second person. All right, but it would be very much like the word run. Okay, so this is a command, but that's not saying that anybody ran. It's just giving the command to run. That's what it does. And I'll show you here. Here's three words, three verbs in the imperative: ask, seek, knock. That's not to say that anyone ever asked, anyone ever sought. Got to change that word. And no one knocked. It's not saying anyone ever did that. But what the imperative is giving a command. This is what you do, and this is what you're going to get. All right? Ask, and it will be given to you. Now, this is not a command here. This is not a command. This is just telling a result, and I'll show you what verbs those actually are in a second. Seek, and you will find. This is promises. But you have to ask, you have to seek, knock, and it will be open to you. You have to do these things. These are commands. It is a call to action, not a statement of any kind of real, actual action. Okay? It's not saying that the boy asked and it was given to him. It's not saying that. But these are commands. Now, these other verbs are actually indicative. These are real actions in the future. And that's an assurance that is given there. You do this, here is the assurance. And it's put in the indicative of where this will happen. Such as, I'm going to give a command, don't follow the command. Command is jump off the cliff and you'll hit the bottom. Okay? One follows the other. One follows the other. You do this, ask, seek, knock. This is what's going to follow. And that's solid. That's a solid assurance right there. Now, we come to subjunctive. Subjunctive case, or subjunctive mood rather, is a conditional sentence. And it is the if-then sentence. If this is done, then this will happen. All right? But it's not a command. The action is objectively possible, but it's not happened. If the boy runs, he will escape. Okay, so it's though this particular sentence doesn't have a then to it, it's still an if-then sentence. If he does this, then this will happen. So John 14:15, if you love me, keep my commandments. There is the subjunctive verb right there. The subjunctive verb is if you do this. Now, we have to put these words, boom, boom, into it, but in Greek, it doesn't necessarily have to do that. It doesn't. It doesn't have to do that. If you love me, keep my commandments. So this is all conditional, and you have something that is possible. Is it possible to keep His commandments? Yeah. Is that love agape? That is agape. That's the agape. Yeah, that is. Now we come to voice. Voice, active and passive. These are pretty simple, but there's more involved in them. The middle, really, we don't have an equivalent to that. It's the translators, as I said, do the best they can, but there's still more inside it that we just can't translate. And which happens in languages. That there are certain things in a language, in a culture, that the people who grew up speaking that, they understand it, but someone on the outside is like, that's kind of difficult for us to quite translate. But, all right, so we have the active. The active voice is the subject commits the action. The boy hit the ball. That is, the subject is boy, and the word, that verb hit is an active verb. He's doing the hitting, and the ball is the direct object. That's what's being hit. Okay, so John 8:32, and you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. This is active. This is, you are the one who's going to know, and the truth is the one that's going to make you free. It's actively, these are active verbs. This is what the subject is doing. You are going to know, the truth is going to make you free. All right, now we come to the passive. And the subject is being acted upon. The subject did not commit the action. The subject's not doing the action, but is affected by the action. The boy was hit by the ball. All right, the boy in English was hit. That's passive. That is, the ball is now hitting him. He's not hitting the ball is now hitting him. And he's still the subject, but this is the passive voice in this. And we come to 1 Corinthians 13:8. Love never fails, but whether they are prophecies, they will fail. All right, that is passive. They will fail. Whether there are tongues, they will cease. That's also, something is making them fail and making them cease. Something, but not they. The subject is not doing that. Something is being put upon. Something's being put upon these subjects, such as prophecies or tongues, that is an outside power that is causing them to fail. They will fail. They're not the ones who are bringing about the failure. They're not doing it. Something else is putting a force on it to where it will fail. It will cease. Whether there is knowledge, it will vanish away. These are passive verbs. And does it make a difference? Well, yeah, I think more is being put into it, and understanding that prophecies, tongues, and knowledge aren't the ones doing this to themselves, but something else is. Not being stated at the moment, but something else is. Now, we come to the middle voice, and there is no English equivalent. And there are arguments over the middle voice. And it gets deep and it gets too complicated. But there is the middle voice. And we have three different types. You have the subject is involved in it, but the subject, there is an emphasis of well, let's just look at this. Okay, so reflexive middle. Sentence such as this: the man is raising himself up. The result of the action, the emphasis is the result of the action upon the subject. The subject is doing it, but the emphasis is that the man is benefiting from this, or that the resulting action of what he did to himself. Okay, so that's reflexive middle. Intensive middle. He is teaching the truth. That doesn't sound like middle anything. That sounds like that's just straightforward. But in Greek, it is you put this into the middle, and the emphasis is on the subject that he and no other is teaching. That's the intensive middle. The idea is to emphasize who's doing it, and that this person is doing it alone. Or what is doing this, and that person alone, or that thing alone, is committed to this action. No one else joined in. Then there's the reciprocal middle. The men are teaching one another, and that is plural subjects are engaged in an interchange of action. That's the middle, and it's kind of confusing to us because we don't really have this, and this would be just a thing concerning the Koine Greek, that it's emphasizing something that we wouldn't, if we were going to emphasize it in English, we would emphasize it in a different way, but they can do it this way. And so John 18:18, now the servants and the officers who had made a fire of coals stood there, for it was cold, and they warmed themselves. That is the middle. They warmed themselves, and Peter stood with them and warmed himself. And actually, oddly enough, this is not in the middle, and that's a question I can't answer. I don't know, but I know that this verb for warmed himself is not in the middle. But they warmed themselves is. And they are the ones who are in the action, and they are receiving whatever benefit, whatever result from the action. 2 Corinthians 11:14, and no wonder, for Satan himself transforms himself into an angel of light. This too is in the middle. This is middle voice. He is doing this to himself. Now, we come to tenses. So verb tense, past, present, future, continuous action, and punctiliar action, of which we don't have that. All right? That cannot be placed in a verb in English at all. It would need help, and we have to have words that help. English is a weaker language than Koine Greek. But past, present, future, I think everybody's got that. I mean, that's a language basic right there. But let's look at past tense. Past tense, we have the imperfect tense. Is continuous action in the past. And there are different types of imperfect tense. There's the descriptive, there's the repeative, and it's also called the iterative. I'll just use repeative. Inceptive, that's putting an emphasis on the beginnings of something and it continues on. All right, this did not happen at once and stop. And depending on how it is being used, it could have happened many times. It could be that there is a process of which this took a period of, whatever the period of time is, or it could be this was done repeatedly. Now, with the descriptive, this didn't, with descriptive, this happened many times. Let's look at this. Okay, so descriptive imperfect tense. Matthew 3, verses 5 and 6, then Jerusalem and all Judea and all the region around the Jordan went out to him, that's to John, and were baptized by him, John the Baptist, in the Jordan, confessing their sins. All right, now this is descriptive, that more than one person did this more than one time. That more than one was involved in this, and this action took place over many days, is really the way I should have said it and the way I put it down right here. All right, the action is not repeated by the same person. It is that each person does this, and this is describing this time in which a lot of people were doing this. Now, is there a value in any of these things? Yeah, there is. There's a value, because in knowing these things, you can look up and see specifically what the biblical text is trying to say, what it is expressing in an extraordinary way. Now, we have the repeated imperfect tense, And notice it's more like a dotted line. It's repeated action in the past. All right, it didn't just happen all at once and stop, but multiple subjects are repeating an action at different times. And Acts 1 and 6. Therefore, when they had come together, they asked him, saying, Lord, will you at this time restore the kingdom to Israel? All right, this could be translated another way because it's the repeated imperfect. If you just read this in English, you would think that they're all together and all of them at once, at one time, just said, Lord, will you at this time restore the kingdom to Israel? But that's not in the verb. That's not what the verb is saying. The verb actually would be kept asking him. All right, therefore, when they had come together, they kept asking him, saying, Lord, will you at this time restore the kingdom to Israel? And that this is people asking at different times and repeating the action. That is a different image right there. That they have come together and everybody is, this isn't just one person who asks it. This is a lot of them who are asking. And it's not just at one time in which they are asking this. This is something that they were very, very concerned with and wanted to know the answer. Now, we have the imperfect tense. This is imperfect and this is inceptive. And with the inceptive, it is emphasis on the beginning of the action, not its progress. All right, so Matthew 5 and 2, this is inceptive and perfect. Then he opened his mouth and taught them, saying. All right, this could be translated another way. We'll get to that in just a second. But this introduces the Sermon on the Mount. This introduces it. And this inceptive imperfect tense is it emphasizes, this particular word emphasizes the beginning of it. That this is the beginning of something he's going to do. And of course, we read all the way through chapter 7 to get the entire Sermon on the Mount. But it could be translated this way. Then he opened his mouth and he began teaching them, saying. This, once again, introduces what he's about to do. Now we come to the perfect tense. Perfect tense is continuous action in the past with current results. Okay, now, such as, let's just discuss what we just talked about. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. What we just talked about. Okay, with this repeated imperfect tense, it just talks, this is emphasizing that many subjects did this at many times, is what that is. They kept asking. This emphasizes the beginning, not necessarily the process, but it did stop in time. It did stop in time. But this talks about action that you have a progress, you have a culmination, and then you have it completed in the present, and the emphasis is on the resultant state of being. That this was done in the past, and this is what it has done. All right? And so now we're going to the aorist tense. Aorist is much simpler. Aorist is that of punctiliar. That means it happened in the past and was completed in the past. It started and stopped in the past. That aorist is very simple. And present tense is very simple. Present is exactly like ours. It's continuous current action is what present tense means. What present tense does. Now we get to the future tense, and it's often punctiliar, but it doesn't have to be. Some will say that it depends on the context that you're looking at. But you have the imperative future, which you shall call his name John. Imperative future. That is, that this is, if you remember, imperative is a command. All right? But this is imperative future of you shall call his name John. When he's born, you'll call his name John. He's not born yet. Matter of fact, he doesn't really exist physically when we're at Luke 1:13. But it won't be much longer. But you shall call his name John. That's the imperative future. The deliberative future is, Lord, to whom shall we go? It is, of course, with this is a question, and it's asking something that is in the future of, what are we going to do? What is this? And we have the predictive future, John 14:26. He will teach you all things. That is predictive. That is a prophecy. That is Jesus talking about the Holy Spirit coming and what the Holy Spirit will do. And this is prophetic. And of course, all prophecy is things that will occur in the future, whether closer or far away. All right, he will teach you all things. All right, that is all we can do for today. And I thank you for being here. And hopefully you get an idea of how complicated, how complex, I should also use the word sophisticated, the Greek language is. That it can become very, very specific in ways in English we don't even think in that direction. We just don't even think in that direction. But the biblical text has used it and is doing that. All right, hopefully next week we can continue, and thank you.